Here we go. Game against an 8Q. I'll accept that. Say hello. And then zoom in. So my opponent is black. Sente, I'm Gote. I hope he will. He didn't say anything, and he didn't move. So my opponent moved after waiting for 6 minutes. Okay, so if there's a bishop trade here, boom, boom. And a bishop drop is what's exposed. Nothing too serious. This and this is the usual bishop drop you can do here. So he's going for some kind of cheerful central rook. Oh, this maybe is a mistake. Yeah, I didn't defend my bishop before moving the silver up. Fortunately, there was a pawn in the way, but he could have pushed the pawn, so it'd be an attack on my silver, but I would have had to take. Let's just step aside with the king. So pawn takes. Well, I take the silver first. Oh, he's going to take back. I take the bishop. He takes back with the silver. To keep my pawn from coming forward, I guess. Now, when I drop, when I take here and he takes with the rook, do I have a good bishop drop here? Hitting this pawn is defended. Here, hitting this pawn is not defended. His rook can come back and defend. Oh, I can't drop here because of the knight. That's why he took with the knight. Okay, I'm being a little slow here. So this is defended. This is defended. This is defended. I could just defend this pawn. I could push here first. Gold here to defend the pawn. He could drop the bishop here, so not a good move. Could just ignore that and let him take the pawn. What if I push and he takes and I take with my bishop? Where is his bishop drop? His bishop drop is here, hitting this pawn. Yeah, step up with the silver. So if he drops a pawn here, I can take it. If he drops a pawn here, I could drop a pawn here and then take this pawn. Oh, I could just take it. That's right, king and gold. Silver, silver. Two pieces outweigh one. So I'm thinking I can push here. He has to take with a pawn. I can take back. Then there's a weakness. There is a weakness here. If there's no immediate threat by the bishop to my rook. You can drop the bishop here, not here. You can drop it here. Okay, well, we'll see what he comes up with. So, I guess he wanted to play a handicap game. So he gave himself a handicap of 6 minutes. But he's probably experienced enough to play well in Byoyomi, so I guess nothing horrible will go wrong here. Okay, so now I should look at bishop drops here and here. Yeah, if I drop the bishop here, I can take this pawn. After as the rook moves, he can't actually defend it. Drop the bishop here, also taking this pawn. But he could block with the rook. Whereas if I drop the bishop here, you can't block with the rook, and I can just take that pawn. Maybe thought he would go here. Okay, he's gone back to this. Go here and promote. Now I just need to get a rook and golden hand and mate him. But not so easy to do. And anyway, this is all protected around the king, so no mate. Okay, where do I want to move the horse to? I can move to this square. I can move diagonally back here, here, or I can move back to this square or this square. Let's go here, see if he's got a good bishop drop. Let's see. Again, if I push, he takes, I take with the rook. Bishop drop here or here. Not here, here or here. It's still okay. Okay, he ran with the rook. Let's try and break through on the rook file here. I can go here and promote. I can take that. That's hitting the lance here, so I think I should take it. I take here, he takes with the rook. It's my turn. I can drop a bishop here. I could just keep the bishop in my hand and just come in with my rook. Promote. So I'm hitting the lance, and I can just retreat. If I go here, and he drops a bishop here, I could go here to here. Go ahead. Having a lance in hand is sometimes useful. Can play it here, for example. Drop a pawn. And the lance, or just drop the lance. Oh, okay, he goes there. I see. He was deflecting me away from this rook file. So now he's coming in. He's threatening to attack. Threatening to take that knight. If he comes in to promote, I can drop a lance. And even the promoted rook, the dragon, doesn't have any good moves. So he drops a pawn first, I see. So I can't drop a lance there. What can I do? I can drop a pawn here or here. I can drop a bishop here. And then if the rook moves, I can drop a pawn here, or there, or a lance. Just need to block this long enough for my gold to take this pawn. Because when he takes here, well, it's a knight. We'll try this one. So he could take a knight and a gold for the rook. Takes here, I take here, takes here, and then I have to move the bishop or take here. Yeah, so I think that might have even been better for him. I think, yeah, just pushing ahead with the pawn might have been better for him. Okay, he's going to look for a good bishop drop. He probably has one by now. My forces have gotten disorganized here. A knight. Not what I expected at all. Okay, so I can drop a rook here with check and then take the knight. Let's see, rook here. Where can he drop a bishop? He can drop a bishop here or here or here to hit that rook. Can drop a bishop here. This is a good diagonal, huh? And I don't have a bishop. If I had a bishop in hand, see, he dropped a bishop somewhere on this diagonal. I could drop a bishop here, but I don't have a bishop. So the bishop here, yeah, he found it, would hit my dragon, and it hits the lance in the corner. Okay, let's well, I should move the rook. I mean the dragon. Can't go here because the gold will take it. Can't go here because of the bishop. Can go here, or I can take the pawn. Oh, he doesn't want to take my lance. Is he trying to trap? Is he trying to trap that? Trap that dragon in some way? What can I do? Well, let's just close the diagonal. See what his trick is. Okay, silver there. Could try and gang up on this pawn and here. Pressure on the king. Let's go here first. Bishop drops. Not. Yeah, so trying to keep the dragon and the rook on different diagonals so they don't, or sets of diagonally connected squares. Okay, stepped forward. So where, let's bring some rooks. This is loose here, so he could drop a bishop on this diagonal. He still has that bishop in hand. I push, he takes, I drop a pawn. Bishop goes here or here. Not sure. Take those away, then the bishop cannot go really anywhere. Push here. Threatening to push again, and then that bishop has no squares. Or if he takes, then I will drop. Keep the lance in hand. You can do this with the lance, of course, too. He can go there. Knight. Knight here. Knight here. Hitting that bishop. You know, I just realized I've got two pieces concentrated on this pawn here, too. It's defended by his silver. Ah, okay. I take here, he takes there. Could just back off here. Now that his bishops are committed, but it's getting tricky. Getting tricky. So I take, the pawn takes. I mean, I could have taken with the knight, but he could still take my rook. Okay, what have I got here? I could drop a bishop here, 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 here. He can drop a rook somewhere. He can drop the rook here. He can drop the rook here. Okay, I'm eliminating the check. So when he drops a rook, it's not with check. This is his pawn, right? So I can take it and threaten here and here. Dragon takes, gold takes. Okay, he dropped a pawn. He's pushing a pawn. I see he's going to push here. Maybe. That's good. So I can take here. He can take with the lance. He can take with the silver. So I drop a pawn. He will take with a silver, I guess. Or will he move the silver? How about if I drop a pawn here? Threaten to promote. A dangling pawn. Oh, gives up a whole bishop. Maybe the dangling pawn was too strong. I have a dangling pawn here too. I can push that and promote it. And I won on time. Well, I have a pretty good position, but I do like to play these things out because I still make mistakes. I still need to learn how to finish the game. Anyway, we'll check this out with Elmo, and I'll see you guys then. Bye. So you can see, here's the graph that Elmo made evaluating the game. The bars below the line are good for me. I was Gote in this game. So it's one of those rare games where I get an advantage and I don't give it away. Normally my games are more up and down. You can see it's still some up and down here where I don't play the best moves, but not enough. My moves were not bad enough to give the advantage away. I think my opponent, he's an 8Q. I think maybe he was a little distracted. There was that period at the beginning of the game where he didn't move, so maybe he had to go deal with something, and then he came back. He only had 4 minutes left, and I had 10, and he had to play the game, and he might have still been occupied by whatever that distraction was. His brain might have been disturbed somewhat. Anyway, this is all okay so far. Offering the bishop exchange seems to be all right. And this move. This is the first move I want to really question. When I played here, it undefends my bishop. You know, previously the rook was defending the bishop and the silver was defending the bishop, but by moving the silver here, I got rid of both defenses in one blow. And so now my bishop is just loose. And I was really kind of lucky that the move before, he had just moved this pawn. If we back up, he had just moved that pawn to block the bishop, so the bishop's diagonal wasn't open. So just in time. But I really should have checked there more carefully. So there's nothing bad happening here, but I did want to defend my bishop right away in case I blundered like that again. And then he brings his rook to the center, so we've got this central rook, and he does the characteristic pawn push here, but right at this particular time, it appears that that pawn push is a bad move. Certainly gets a question mark from Elmo here, and it likes my response because it opens up the bishop diagonal I could take. And he could take back with either the silver or the knight. Taking back with the knight the way he did allows this pawn to come forward and allows me to potentially break into his side. So I was happy to see that. But if we back up, it turns out that taking with the silver has problems too. If he takes with the silver, it leaves this pawn undefended, this pawn. And so because of that, I can take here, and then if he takes back, I can drop a bishop on this square, forking this pawn, which is now unprotected, and his rook. So it's actually not good to take with the bishop, and Elmo agrees that the way he took was actually the best move, to take with the knight. But if that's his best move, then he's just slightly worse in this position. So I took here, he took. Yeah, it didn't like the rook takes either. It would move the gold up, gold 6i, or over. Gold 6i to 7i. It would move the gold over to protect some of these squares. There's a potential bishop drop here at 8h, and I never played it, but Elmo is recommending that bishop drop, and it wants the gold to come over here instead to prevent that. So let's continue. I took with the rook. I brought my silver up to defend. Already, Elmo is recommending the bishop drop on 8h. That's the one I mentioned. Just drop the bishop here. I'm not entirely sure about that in this position. It looks like, well, let's see. If the lance moves forward, I can move my bishop here and promote to a horse, and I'm still attacking the lance. So maybe it just wins a lance. But then you also have to worry about extracting the horse from this corner. But I guess if I had seen that, I probably would have gone for it. Anyway, I didn't. I did not have that in mind. And I gave up this pawn, but this is all still good for me. So I was a little worried at various times, but it seems like this is all right. Let's see, my bishop drop. Yeah, it didn't even think my bishop drop was the best move, but it thinks it's an okay move. You see the evaluation is not changing very much. And I do get to promote my bishop to a horse and take a pawn near the king. I think that's worth it. And then I had to retract my bishop here. And again, this actually, Elmo is recommending the horse gold sacrifice, taking there. And that's interesting. I guess there's still weaknesses on this side because the follow-up is to push this pawn. And yeah, even if I had seen that, I don't think I would have done that. But again, this move that I played was not too bad. You see the evaluation doesn't change all that much. So this is okay. And then I get to push my pawn forward, and my rook is threatening to come in. And so I did this exchange and then promoted. What was it that Elmo recommended here? Oh, yeah, I could have dropped a pawn at 5G. Drop a pawn to this square, 5G, to hit his rook. Little intermediate move. I didn't have to take that bishop right away. Might have been interesting. Didn't think of that one. So he goes here, and then I do promote my rook. I think in the line I looked at it with Elmo, it eventually brings the rook in here and promotes it too. So that's the right general idea, to bring that rook in. Then he chases me away. I was a little uncomfortable here for a bit, but this was a mistake. So when he brought the rook over here, Elmo is recommending dropping the lance. Drop the lance here. You can do that with check. And lance 5f. Yeah, it could also be dropped here to the 5f square. Anyway, you can drop a lance with check instead of moving the gold, and just continuing to play aggressively. That's how Elmo does that. And I checked, what do I do if the gold, if the dragon takes that knight and promotes, that's the threat. It says no problem, just move the gold then after the dragon is here, and the dragon has to retreat, or take the lance, but then it'll be a little bit out of play, and this can come into the game. So that was Elmo's opinion. There's some weaknesses down here. Pawn drops around here are dangerous. This silver is defending the gold. So I think that's why a lance drop on this file, maybe followed by a pawn drop here, is overloading that silver there. And it's more important than the stuff that's going on over here. At least that is Elmo's opinion. Anyway, in the game, I defended, and then he dropped his pawn. I realized, well, it wasn't a great defense, was it? So I dropped this bishop here, and I was asking during the game, I wonder if he could just take. And I looked at this a bit. It doesn't turn out that well for him. If he takes here, he gets this knight. I can still drop the lance over here and do some stuff against his king, and at the end I can take his rook, and maybe he can take the gold before I take back. But my attack against his king is stronger. So so the move he played was maybe not the best. I think Elmo recommended just retreating the rook, but keeping it on this file. But the idea of pushing the pawn, that didn't work out. Taking the knight and promoting the pawn was an idea that didn't work out. Anyway, so I got to, when he moved the rook away, I got to take that pawn, so I was happy with that. And then he exchanged his rook off for my bishop there. It was a bishop. And so I've got a couple of rooks, and I'm just trying to increase the pressure on him while not giving away many pieces. And it looks like this was okay. This trade Also, maybe these things weren't the best, but they kept an advantage here. And then finally, at this point, he ran out of time. I did take a look at it a little bit. Elmo was recommending dropping a pawn here, drop a pawn here, and then it was saying I should just push this pawn and promote. There were various times actually when I could have pushed this pawn and promoted, and that's very strong. So that's the way it would continue, and I just have a winning advantage. Although there's no mating attack here. You always want to look for a mating attack, but he's got a lot of generals around the king. He's got 4 generals around the king. So you just have to kind of wear your opponent away, wear those pieces away, and eventually a mating opportunity will present itself. Anyway, good game, I thought. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.